The two immediate steps that we need to take towards recovery. Recovery is a long way off in my view, but the two immediate steps that we need to take in order to avert the crisis deepening is the engagement of the IMF and agreeing on IMF program, whereby the IMF will come and assist us in terms of balance of payment support, both in the short term and medium term. I believe that happens, there will be some kind of bridging finance they might be able to give us. The creators of the market will get confidence that we are under IMF program, and then further bilateral funding and negotiations can take place. So therefore, it is very critical that we engage the IMF in order to overcome this current situation and impasse. Secondly, we also need to look at our debt, as our debt is looming and we are unable to service the debt. If you are to make sure there are no scarcities, essential food, scarcities in oil, gas and medicine, we have no choice but to restructure our debt. So in order to restructure our debt, we need to first appoint a financial and legal advisor, primarily financial advisor, who will act in between the government of Sri Lanka and the creditors and ask for immediate moratorium of the debt repayments, the interest repayments, and go for a debt restructuring program. But I must say that none of these things are easy, right? They will have their own difficulties. It's a hard pill to swallow. It will have their own consequences. We as Sri Lankans will still go through hardships, but we got no choice but to go through the program. So I believe these two mechanisms will give us some breathing space to readjust the economy. As it is, based on the reserves that we have, we will definitely default on our debt, which is called a disorderly default, if we don't go for an organized restructuring program, because I don't think, for example, we have $1 billion on the commercial debt coming up in July. Then there's bilateral debt that's coming up for payment. I don't think the reserves are adequate to support the repayment of these debts, and neither are we in a position to go and borrow international markets in the current ratings we have in order to sustain these debts, which normally happens. We normally roll over these debts, or we go and borrow internationally and pay off the existing debt. So I don't think we are in a position to do either, because our ratings are bad and we can't raise money in the markets and we don't have enough reserves to pay off the debt. So definitely we go for a default if we don't do this fast. So you see, the social unrest is natural reaction of, I put that first to, as a government's inability to make sure the essential supplies on a daily basis are met. So that's the reason for the social unrest, there's a reason for it. And the government's inaction in order to avert this crisis. But having said that, the current social unrest, if it continues and demands for constitutional change, for government change, and that becomes the result of all this, then we are unable to engage IMF, because IMF won't talk to when there's no government, when there's no finance minister, then there's no stable government, a stable political authority, they don't talk to you. The debt restructuring also can't happen because we have an impasse. Because of that, how much we protest, how much we walk on the streets, for whatever reasons, good reasons they may be, it will not help the cause if we are to postpone these two immediate steps that we have to take. Yeah, actually that's what I said. So as I started by saying, you can't blame the protesters because they don't know the current situation. And even if they know, they have reason to protest, I think, because of the reason that the basic necessities have not been met. There will be long queues for fuel, there are long power cuts, there's no gas in the market, so there is justification for a protest. But at this stage, the protest can send a message to government clearly. But if you are going for as I told you, political or constitutional change will take time, then this will not result in anything in my view. We will have lost the plot. Actually, that is a very good move. In fact, it was we in the advisory committee appointed by His Excellency that really pressed for change in thinking in the government. from that it was before, and we really pressed that these Dr. Kumaraswamy, Dr. Devarajan and Shamil be brought in to give a different perspective, address and advise the President on the need for the IMF reform and the restructuring, which thinking were not there earlier. So they had to, so we pressed heavily to get these three eminent people to take forward the IMF discussion. Yes, so I think means we have, I can say in the 2-3 weeks that we have achieved quite a lot. I mean, some things what we said were not taken, but some things were taken. It was our fervent request and pressure to bring the IMF into the program. I think that forced or that convinced the President to bring the IMF on board. We repeated requests with the President and with also the Finance Minister with the IMF on board. We made repeated requests to bring the debt advisor on board. We have canvassed a lot with a lot of people that we had influence with in order to get these two changes. And I think it was, I can say that our group has done a lot in terms of bringing these two programs online and getting these 3 million people appointed. So getting that on track was largely assisted by us, I can say. Well, I don't think it was there before, but I think there's no choice now. They had to go through. Whoever comes to power, they had to go through that choice, in my view. I think it will be very hard. For example, an IMF recovery, generally, if you look at the past IMF programs when they came, one thing they'll expect is what we'll do is fiscal consolidation, which means we'll have to increase our taxes, both income tax and VAT, increase our rather reduce our expenditure. We might, so the free float was good, but free float we said to do along with the IMF program so that there is stability in the economy. So these two, I think, will bring some stability to the rupee also against the dollar. And then along with the restructuring program will give us a breathing space to support the people with the basic essential items. And then thereafter, to increase exports, to increase foreign remittances, improve tourism. Those are all 4-5 year plans. I think it might take, in the current context, it might take 4 to 5. I mean, hope it will happen before that, but I think for it to come to some normality, it might take about 3-4 years at least. It's my guess, because we need to increase our foreign currency revenue. We can't be, I mean, IMF, debt restructure, all that is all to do with debt, but we must get out of the debt mentality at some point in time. So we need to get to be self-sustainable on our own in terms of foreign currency reserves. So we need to get tourism, remittances all on track. So until such time only we need the IMF and the restructuring done. At the moment, I was told, you see, at the IMF discussion, generally the governor of central bank will go. So central bank governor has been appointed. I was told he's expected today in the country. The Secretary to the Finance I was told, is going to be appointed. So both Secretary to the Finance Ministry and the Governor are essential part of the IMF team. I was also told that there's a 3-member technical committee appointed by Central Bank, within Central Bank, to head the discussions. And of course, Finance Minister must be involved. So all those people are necessary. Well, if everything goes well, if there is no major structural change, I think we should go through. But if there is structural change, it will take time.